Hey there Dev Squad, Virtus here and welcome back to my Unreal Engine 4 FPS series. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how we can actually get our zombie to attack, because at the moment, all they're going to do is run around in the scene, they're going to chase you, but other than that they don't really have any purpose. So what we're going to be doing is a couple of different things. First and foremost, we are going to be rewriting the code for our AI to make it effectively follow and attack you, and then we're going to be setting up all of the animation blueprint stuff to actually get the animation for attacking to play on this zombie. So once again, there is going to be lots of code involved in this episode and it is going to be slightly long. So what I want you to do is just take a step back, take a chill pill and follow along, and as long as everything is done the way that I've done it, you will have no problems and you are going to have a zombie AI that is going to attack the player. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing that you want to do is open up your simple AI for the zombie. So once your simple AI code is open on the screen, what we're going to be doing for now is actually deleting all of the code related to the movement. So that's the stuff that's attached to onC pawn and event tick. Once we've done this, all we're going to simply do is add a new variable. This variable is going to tell the engine whether or not the zombie should play the attacking animation. So what we're going to do is give this variable the name attacking. For the variable type, we're going to set this to boolean, and then you want to hit compile and make sure that your default value is set to untrue. Once you've done this, what we can do is actually move on to setting up the animation, ready to get this attacking and writing all the code that's actually going to make it happen. So what we're going to do is open up our animation blueprint for this. So having said that, what we're going to do is go to zombie. In our content browser, we are going to go to zombie_character_animbp. Go to your state machine, and then within here, we're going to drag out from the movement state and we are going to add a new state called attacking. Once we've done that, we're going to open this up, and what we're going to be doing is doing something a little bit different. We're going to be using a mixture of the attacking animation and the running animation because we want the zombies to be able to move and attack at the same time. So having said that, essentially what we want is the bottom half of the running animation and then the top half of the attacking animation. So let's go ahead and bring that to life. So in your asset browser in the bottom right hand corner, first and foremost, get your walk and run blend space. In addition to this, you also want to get your attacking animation. And once we've done this, what we're going to be doing is using a little node called layered blend per bone. So right click and search for that. And essentially what this is going to do is essentially layer these two pieces of information together and sort of blend it into one animation. So what we're going to be doing is taking these two pieces of information, the zombie attack and also our walk run. So let's go ahead and hook this up. So your zombie attack is going to be your base pose, and then your walk run blend space is going to be your blend pose 0. Once we've done this, we need to hook up our direction and our speed information using the variables tab in the bottom left. So just get a reference to those and hook them up to direction and speed. Once we've done this, what we're then going to do is set our information in the details panel to tell it to basically mix both of these at the hips. So having said that, you want to expand all of this, add a branch filter, and then with your bone name, we are going to be doing this at the hips because this is where we are going to be blending this animation. So bottom half is going to be walk run, top half is going to be the attacking animation. And then what we're going to do once we've done that, we should be good to go. And if we preview this in a minute, you're going to see exactly what it's going to look like if the zombie tries to attack and run at the same time. But before we can preview this, what we need to do is go to our new state machine. So what we need to do now is set up some transitional rules. These transitional rules are going to be based on the variable that we created within that simple AI. So what we're going to need to do then is actually get access to that information. The way we're going to do this is by going to the event graph, and then within the event graph, what we're going to do as simple AI, we are going to simply get attacking which is the boolean that we created, and then we're simply going to promote this to a variable. And what we're going to do is give this the name attacking player. Once we've done that, we're simply going to have this promoted to a variable as I've done there. So just promote to variable, and then you want to hook this up to your execution pin coming off of event blueprint update animation. So it should look like this. Now going back into this state machine, going from movement to attacking, if I open up this transitional rule, I can tell it to go into this new attacking state if attacking player is true. And then going back from attacking to movement, I can set up another transitional rule. Once again, we're using this variable we just created, but this time we're going to be moving to the movement state if they are not attacking the player. So you want to use the not node and hook it up just like this. Go ahead and hit compile, and then if we go to our anim preview editor in the bottom right, if we go ahead and hit attacking player and then increase our speed, you should be able to preview this. Now what you're going to notice is right now he should be swinging his arms, but he's not doing that. And the reason for that is because within our attacking state, our blend weight is 1. So we actually need to play with this number until we get an animation that looks good for us. So let's try blend weight 0.3. Hit compile, hit attacking player. You can see it is going to swing its arm trying to attack the player. But if I also increase my speed at the same time, you are going to see those legs are going to start to move at the same time. So that is essentially what we're looking to get. That is the animation side of things all set up and good to go. What we now need to move on to is actually getting our engine to turn that variable off and on when it's trying to attack the player. So the way we're going to do this is go into our simple AI. So we're going to go to our characters. Sorry, we're going to go to blueprints, and then we are going to go to simple AI. Within here, what we're going to do is write a whole bunch of code which is going to handle all of this. So having said that, what we're going to be doing is starting off from the very top. So starting with on see pawn, which is when they actually see the player, what we're going to be doing is casting to the player because that's the other actor, and then from there we are going to tell it to move to the player. And if they do move to the player and they're able to touch the player, then they are going to try and attack it. So let's go ahead and do that code. So what we're going to do is cast to third person character. So if they see the third person character, then we're going to do all of the code that's attached to this. So what we're going to do from here is use the AI move to node. And this is essentially going to move this simple AI to the player. The way we're going to do this is by setting the third person character to the target actor. And then the pawn for this, we are going to get a reference to self. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to check to see if they are already attacking that player. If not, then we are going to tell it to attack that. So what we're going to do is use the branch node, and with this branch node, we are simply going to hook up our attacking. So if they are already attacking and this is true, we're going to do nothing. But if it is false, what we're going to do is set our attacking to true, because they then are going to be in a position where they are going to want to attack this player. Now what we're going to do from here is move on to actually adding in a delay which is going to give you enough time to play the animation. Now the animation for attacking is 2.63 seconds long. So having said that, what we're going to do is add in a delay, and this delay duration is going to be exactly 2.3 seconds. So after this delay, what we're going to do from here is simply set our attacking back to untrue. So what this is essentially going to do now is attack the player if it sees it, and then go back into its normal state of not attacking. So let's go ahead and hit compile and see if it's going to try and hit the player. So run in front of it, and you can see they are now swinging their arms just like that. Now what you are going to notice is they aren't going to know what to do after they swing their arms, and that's because we've not set up any logic for that. So after they have attacked this player, what we're going to be doing is taking this straight back to the AI move to node so they can keep on moving towards the player endlessly, and they can also keep on attacking this player as well. So if I go ahead and hit compile now, hit play, and if I run in front of these and they see us, they're going to run it up to us, they're going to try and hit us, and they're going to keep on chasing us endlessly. And it's going to be the same for the other AI once they see me too. So now what we've got is essentially this little horde of zombies running at us, attacking us, and doing all of that good stuff. Now there is still one main piece of functionality that we need to set up for this, and that is actually getting those hits to damage the player. And we've got a really nice little system that we are going to be setting up for this. So essentially what we're going to be doing is checking to see whether or not that hand overlaps with the player, and if it does overlap with the player, then we are going to take away some health. Now before we move on to that, what I also want to do is make sure that when you first start playing your game, these zombies are going to start roaming around endlessly. So having said that, what we're going to do is with our begin play at the very top, what we're going to do is use the AI move to node. And this node is essentially just going to get a reference to itself for the pawn, and we are going to move this to a location. Now this location is just going to be random, and this is going to be a random point in reachable radius. And the origin is going to be its current location, so we are going to get the actor location that we've got at the moment. The radius is going to be 10,000, and we're going to leave the rest of it just the way that it is. So as soon as we play, it is going to run this. What we're going to do from here is on success, we can just simply run this again. But we want to make sure this logic is working the way that we want it to. So what we're actually going to be doing is checking to see whether or not they have seen the player. Because if they have seen the player, we are going to be using the AI logic over here. So having said that, what we're going to do just before AI move to is we are going to be setting a variable to true. This variable we don't have at the moment, so we're going to create this, and we're going to give this the name scene player. And then with scene player, we are going to be setting this to true just before we do the AI move to stuff. Hit compile and make sure scene player is set to 0 or untrue by default. Once we've done this, what we can do from there is on success, we can branch, and from there we can check to see if scene player is true. If scene player is true, then we're going to do nothing because the other code is going to take over. If it's false, then what we're going to be doing is going straight back to the start. And we're going to be doing the same thing for false, so if it doesn't get there for some reason, we are just going to head straight back to the start. Hit compile, and then hit play, and what you should notice now is that the zombies are going to be just running around to random locations. Now notice some of them have spotted me, and that code is going to be taken over, but they are moving around randomly, and if you get in this path and this zombie sees you, it is going to chase you. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So you can see now that zombie has joined this little trail, and the rest are going to follow me just like that. And what we can do with these is shoot them, or they can come up to you and they can even attack you as well, as you can see there. So that is the very basics of our zombie setup. It's going to chase you, it's going to roam, and it's also going to try and attack you. What we now need to do is tackle that last but most important task of getting it to damage the player. So having said that, we are going to be doing a couple of different things. So what we're going to be doing with this to accomplish this is essentially putting collision on the hand. And if that collision on the hand overlaps the player, then we're going to deal damage. There's going to be a little bit more code and conditioning attached to this, but that is essentially the basics of what we want to do, and you're going to see us elaborate on that as we start to write it. So having said that, what we're going to do is go to zombie, and we are going to open up the skeleton. And the reason why I'm opening this is because we want to add collision on the hand that's going to be attacking. Now if you've seen the animation, this zombie is right-handed and it is going to attack with the right hand. So what we need to do is go to our skeleton view in the top left hand corner or middle left, and then we're going to find our right hand, and then with this, what we're going to be doing is simply adding in a socket. And we're going to give this the name attacking collision. Once we've done this, we can go ahead and close this. And then if we go back to our blueprint for the zombie, which is under our blueprints folder, under simple AI, so third person BP, blueprints, we can actually go into the viewport, select our mesh, and we can actually start to attach items to that hand that we've got there. So what we're going to do is add a collision. So what we're going to do is get a nice little sphere collision, and at the moment you can see it's at the player's foot, at the zombie's foot. So what we're going to be doing with this is making sure it's attached to the mesh. So this sphere at the moment, if I drag to drop it over the mesh, it says detach, so it's by default already attached it. If it's not, just drag and drop to attach it there. What we need to do there, now it's attached, we actually need to parent it to a specific socket. The socket being the one that we just created. So if you hit the little search, the little magnifying glass there, from the list you need to find your attacking collision. You can either type it in, or if it comes up at the top, you are good there. So what you should have now is collision on that hand. So what we're going to do with this collision is, at the minute it's a bit too big. So I'm going to hit my scale tool, and then with this I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller. And you want to make this just about fit around the zombie's hand. You can use the details panel to do this a bit more accurately if you're having problems. So for example, you could set this to something like 0.6 by 0.6 by 0.6. And what you should get is something that looks a little bit like this. What you can also do is offset that a little bit if that's something that you want to do, because at the moment you can see it's closer to the wrist than it is the actual fingers, which are going to be doing the damage. If you want to offset this, what we're going to have to do is go back to our zombie, go back to our skeleton for that, so open it up, and then you want to find that socket, and then what we're going to do is, as you can see here, it's in the wrist. We are simply going to be moving this down all the way over to about the center of the hand there. If we close that again, go to our blueprints folder, and then from here open up our simple AI, go to our viewport, you can see that is a much better looking collision. You can see it is staying there on the hand. Now with the hand and this collision that we've got here, we want to set up the collision so it's going to work with the code that we're about to write. So what we're going to do is simulation generates hit events, generate overlap events, make sure that's checked, and you also want to make sure this is set to overlap all dynamic as well. Once we've done this, what we're going to be doing is hitting compile. Go to our event graph, and then we're going to be creating an overlap event for this sphere. So to do that, select the sphere in the components panel in the top left hand corner, and then on component begin overlap, we want to hit that in the bottom right in our details panel, the little green box. The other actor is going to be the cast2 third person character. Once we've done this, what we want to do is check to see whether or not they're attacking, because we don't want it to damage the player if they are not attacking. So if attacking is true, then what we're going to do is write the logic for the rest of this to actually get it to damage the player. If it's false, then we don't want it to do anything because it shouldn't be attacking, and that is as simple as it is. And if you run into that hand, you don't want it doing damage to you. So once we have got this set up with our branch, what we're going to be moving on to is creating a second variable, and this second variable is going to be already hit. Now this variable is going to be used to tell us whether or not, as part of that one single attack, has the player already been hit. If they have already been hit, then we don't want to run this sequence. We're going to be setting up the logic for all of this in our actual attack script that we've created over here anyway. So if they've already hit, we're going to hook this up into a branch. So they've already hit. If it's false, this is where we're actually going to damage the player. If it's true, then we're going to do nothing. So if attacking is true, we're going to run this. Once we've done this, this is where we're actually going to be moving on to damaging the player. And the way we're going to do this is, as third person character, we created take damage functions. So from here we've got take damage 5%, 20%, 15% and 10%. I want this to do 20% damage to the player. So we've already hit is false. We're going to take that damage off the player. And we are going to be able to see this. So we've set up our already hit here, and it's going to take damage, and that's all good, that works. What we now need to do is actually set up the fundamental logic for already hit. So what we're going to do there is, after we take this damage, we are simply going to do set already hit to true. And then at the end, just when you set attacking to untrue, that is where you want to set already hit to untrue as well, because you've finished that one single attack. So after attacking untrue, you want to set already hit to untrue. And then what you want to do from there is, with your execution pin, if it isn't already, you want to make that loop back to the AI move to, as I have done here. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we've got. Hit compile, hit play, jump into our scene. Now that damage there was unrelated to the zombies, but if they get up to us and attack us, you are going to notice our health is going to start going down when they attack us. And you can see there it's got down all the way down to 0, and I can keep taking that damage from these zombies. I can also shoot them off, and essentially what we've got now is a really neat system where we've got zombies attacking us, killing us, and doing all of that good stuff. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy fighting your zombies. That is everything that I wanted to show you, but for now guys, once again, thanks for watching, stay awesome, keep creating, your boy Virtus, signing out. This video was made possible by my supporters on Patreon. If you want more videos like this, check out my Patreon page using the link in the description. To stay up to date on new releases, make sure you follow us on social media.